Hey, this is Jason Flynn. I am the team leader out of the Fremont Market Center. I just had a business partner close a referral that I gave them through Facebook, and I kind of wanted to break down this example, kind of beginning to end, how this ad worked out. It had a pretty crazy ROI, so I kind of want to show this as an example because so many people say, oh, but does it actually work? Does it actually work? Yes. It works. Here's some takeaways. Here's some exact numbers, exactly that I used and everything. So to get started, let's look at this very high-tech slide presentation that I put together in Notepad on Mac OS. So this is my high-tech slideshow. So first we're going to go into kind of what the ad was, how it worked, and then I'm going to break it down. I want you to actually see these numbers, exactly everything that I had, and you'll see what a great ROI this can be. So to start out, this was a $50 total ad spend, $10 a day over 5 days on a new listing. Big key part here, this was not my listing. I didn't have a listing in the area, so I talked to another agent in my office. He had a new listing, said, would you mind if I ran an ad? I want to find a buyer for you. He said yes. Bing. Win-win. This ad, so let's get into what the ad itself was. It was this one right here. This was back in June, so I'm recording this in January. This was back in June, and we'll get into those exact dates and how this broke down. But this was the ad, kind of just a simple for sale ad on a just listed. I made the design in Designs and then just ran it through Campaigns. You don't even have to go through all this. I just chose to. For sale, income producing horse property. Use emojis to break it up. Don't give away all the information. I want to tell them, or rather I want to hide the price and address from them. I need them to click more and register, because then that's how we're going to get the lead. Then those are the people to follow up with. And so real simple ad, nothing fancy about it. I mainly trying to attract buyers, and we'll talk about how that actually works out. Targeting buyers, but there, hint, hint, there's going to be some sellers in these in these leads as well. So, generated 5,700 impressions, 600 clicks, and 38 leads. In general, this is, I would have actually expected to see, we like to say about 1% of the number of impressions. So impressions to clicks was over 10%. That's a really well-performing ad, but then only about 5% clicks to leads. That was a little low, but I will say the quality of these leads did seem a little bit higher, mainly probably because it was a specialized property. The people clicking on this probably have, income producing horse property. That's going to be a little bit more specialized of a buyer. It's not your everyday buyer. Could be a first time buyer, but it's not the first thing they're probably looking for. We're in Santa Cruz, California, very high price point market, kind of $1 million plus as an average. So higher price point, but I'm going to break down the numbers as if it wasn't a high price point as well, so you can see. And then a key part here is I totally automated the smart plan, created a smart plan, dropped people into it. It sent them an automated text and an email. If they didn't reply to that text, I didn't reach out to them. I didn't call them. This is 38 leads. I didn't call them unless they reached out to me first, either by replying to the text or replying to the email. So I wanted this as highly leveraged as possible. I'm busy. I don't want to have to go chase every single lead. I decided to just trust the system. This is what Zillow does. Zillow does not call you the second you register on the website. They do call you the second that you ask for information on a property and show that you're more than just a lead, that you are an actual not qualified buyer, but at least that next level down the funnel. You're at least interested in the property for some reason. So I treated them just like Zillow would, and this is how it worked out. All right, so 4 of those 38 leads, so again, about 10% of the leads that I had responded to the text or the email initially. Not all immediately. It's not like they all just are sitting at their phone ready to go, but the texts come pretty quick. The emails might have taken a little bit longer, which kind of makes sense. 2 of them, they were meh. They weren't anything that I even really remember, honestly. But then 2 were solid. One said that he's very interested in this property. He had a property to sell. He wanted to buy this one. And then the other one owns multiple horses, is looking for a new horse ranch. So obviously something like this would work for her. That one ended up, she wants a different area, so this one didn't work out for her. So I have her on a long-term nurture campaign. And so this other one, I referred him out. He was pretty heavy Spanish speaker. So I asked him if he'd feel more comfortable working with a native Spanish speaker. I had a partner at my office, referred him out, said, here you go. Let me know how it goes. And if it's a buy and a sell, I want a referral on both. Sure enough, guess what happened? So referred out the lead. The lead ended up having to sell his property in order to buy a property. Now, I will say he was not able to buy this exact property. They ended up buying something else. This was far outside of his price range. That's life. But he had to sell in order to buy. And he ended up meeting with that referral agent's lender within a week. Within that first week that I referred the lead to, he had already met with a lender. They had the sale of his house on the market within 60 days. So we ran this ad in June. They went on the market in August. So within 60 days from the lead response, they were already on the market. We're in a very intense seller's market right now. So 7 days on the market with multiple offers. Obviously, they took one. Now, being that intense seller's market, super low inventory, also means that him trying to buy, especially a specialized property like a ranch, is just going to take time. Sure enough, that's what happened. Like I said, we ran this ad back in June. His house went on the market in August, and it's currently January. This week, or literally just today, today's January, I think 13th or 14th, I don't remember. Just today, they ended up closing on both the properties. And so 6 months to close transactions. We'll talk a little bit more about those timelines. This could have gone faster had there been more inventory. They ran into some problems in escrow because it was a complicated deal. Either way, ended up closing. Bing. I was going to make this video sooner, but kind of like Michael Scott in The Office, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, and I wasn't about to jinx it. So let's start breaking down some of these numbers. So this lead had a $500,000 sale and a $700,000 purchase, right? So he was a move-up buyer, ended up buying a couple of acres. So 500 sale, 700 purchase, $1.2 million in volume, for a total of $30,000 in gross commission. And so when we start to break this down from an ROI standpoint, when you say $30,000 GCI divided by the $50 that was spent on this ad, remember $10 over 5 days, that's a 600x ROI. 600x ROI. The problem is people don't want to believe this number. Like, they just want to ignore the fact that 600x, it's unbelievable, it's unfathomable, it's too big. We'll start breaking it down even more for you. Now, I decided to go highly leveraged in this. I didn't just refer him out because he wasn't a native English speaker or because I wanted him to kind of have the best service in his language. Really, I referred it out for leverage. The same reason I automated the smart plan. I just wasn't looking. I had a lot going on back in June and July. I just didn't want to work it. Honestly, I just wanted to generate some leads, refer them out. Sure enough, that's what happened. So if I go $7,500 was the referral fee divided by that $50 ad spend, 150x ROI. Now, what people are going to say, though, I guarantee it, is this isn't the only ad I ran, right? You can see over here, like this whole list kind of off to the side. I've run a whole bunch of ads throughout the year, and I actually totaled it up before the year rolled over so I could actually see what the total was. And for the year, I spent $761 in ads for 195 leads captured. So let's start to break down what this looks like if I decide to average out just that one, or really two deals, but this one lead over the entire year. So even in this only single example, 30,000 in GCI divided by the 761 in ad spend means a 39x ROI. So it's still massively better than you're getting in almost every other lead source. If you can name another lead source that gets you 30 plus X, let me know what it is, because I'll probably invest some money in it. And again, though, because I wanted to be highly leveraged, referred it out. So take the referral fee divided by 761 ad spend. You get between 9 and 10. I'm rounding up because it's my numbers, and that's what I want to do. I rounded up 10x ROI. Again, if you can get something that you know you're getting a 10x ROI, let me know what it is. So in addition to all this, I have these other leads. I have, like I said, it's a total of, where did I have that on here? Never mind. There it's right there. 195 leads captured throughout the year. So I'm already at the 1% because 2 transactions out of 195 leads captured. I'm already at the 1% that we normally say between 1 and 3% conversion rate in that first year. I'm already at the 1%. By nurturing the other 194 leads, I can't guarantee anything, but I can almost guarantee it's going to continue to produce. If I only count this one, 39x or 10x ROI if you go the highly leveraged version. Now, again, people are going to say, wow, it must be nice. I mean, this property's right down the street from the beach. It must be nice. You're in a high price point market. How easy is that? I got some more numbers for you. Let's assume that this was actually in kind of more of an average price point market. Went with $350,000, kind of pretty average, middle of the road, middle of America. If it was a $350,000 purchase and a $350,000 sale, making it $700,000 in volume and $19,250 in GCI, divided by the 761 ad spend throughout the year, because you're not going to let me get away with just counting the single ad. That's a 25x ROI plus the nurtures in the pipeline that I've already created in addition to this. Or because, again, I referred it out, $4,800 would have been the referral fee divided by 761 ad spend, 6x ROI. Even a 6x ROI is good. I mean, we want to see more, but MREA teaches us that we want a 4x or a 4-to-1 return on investment. I'd be willing to bet that most people are getting less than this with Zillow. I'm not saying you can't get more, but I would be willing to bet that most people, if they're honest and break down their true expenses with Zillow, like paying buyers, agents, and whatnot, they're actually getting less than this. But either way, if I can guarantee, I'm not saying I can guarantee it, but if I could guarantee a 6-to-1 ROI, I'm doing it all day long. This is still a great return on investment, especially considering I maybe put an hour of work into this entire transaction, right? $4,800 an hour sounds pretty good to me at that $350,000 average. Okay, so a few takeaways from this. Number one is that buyers can also be sellers. And I believe that, can't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure the last stat that I saw was about 1/3 of buyers are first-time buyers. That means that the other 2/3 of buyers, or maybe up to about 66% of the leads on Facebook, are also sellers. Now, it's not going to exactly work out that way because maybe they've already sold a house, maybe they don't have a house to sell, or they don't want to sell, maybe they're looking for a second property, who knows. But your odds are actually pretty high that that buyer is also going to be a seller. So do not ignore them. Seller leads are very hard to come by on Facebook when only targeting sellers. Cast a wider net. Look at all these ads right here. Most of these are targeting buyers, and those are the higher converting ads. So target buyers, find the sellers within the buyers. Don't forget to ask, do you have a property to sell in order to buy the property you want to buy next? Second, this takes time for results. This took 6 months, or really about 7 months from beginning to end. Like I said, there were different things in the market that kind of caused that. It wasn't even, I mean, this was a very motivated client. I would say this client is about as motivated as you can possibly find, other than someone that said, I want to buy this property. I am highly qualified. I'm highly motivated, and I don't have an agent. That's the only better scenario I could have thought of for this. But in reality, those are very few and far between. Everything else is going to take some time. And so if you start planning this out and say that, okay, let's say this takes 6 months, and I should have put this bottom one next. If you start doing this month to month to month and use some consistency within it, then over time, as you do that, if you do this every month for a year and they start to stack up, you start to smooth out that line instead of the big ups and downs that we usually see in lead generation. And so you're going to kind of smooth that line out. So consistency is key. Long-term follow-up is key. And just an expectation that this isn't an overnight success easy button. It's going to take some time. And then also automate your follow-up if you need to. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do all the time of just going with that hard automated follow-up that I used in this case. I'm not saying everyone should use it all the time. Anything you can do on top of that minimum of putting them on a smart plan and doing those strips over time, anything, if you can give them an initial call, like speed to lead, call them right away. If you can add in more calls, more texts kind of as time goes on, maybe you do it a little bit more in the first week, then slow it down, then maybe call them once a quarter and just try to check in. That's going to increase your conversion rate. But this just shows that if you were to kind of follow that Zillow model and just automate it out, basically, you can at least achieve that 1%, and doing any more might get you even higher than the 3% that we kind of talk about. Anyways, this went on a bit longer than I had originally intended, so I'm going to take off. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'm open book about all of this. I can share more. I can answer questions. And I can also, if you have ads that you want me to kind of break down for you and tell you if this is something that I think will be successful, or if you have an ad that you thought would be successful and wasn't, let me know either in the comments or get a hold of me, and I will reach out to you. We'll break down the ads for you. I'll help you out and we'll take a look at it. So if you have any questions, let me know. And other than that, have a great day and happy hunting.